All right, and welcome back to another episode of the Otter Players Podcast, episode 39, where not a lot of gaming news has happened this week, but there's still quite a few things to cover regardless. Satya Nadella has put everybody on notice that there are more games to come from the Xbox stable to many other platforms, as we all already knew. Prince of Persia, the Golden Crown, not selling up to sales expectations. Astrobot doing exactly the opposite, being number two on the NPD charts. And we'll get to hear from Omar about his impressions of Metaphor since he started this week. But without further ado, we'll go ahead and jump right into it. Weeb, man, how are you and what have you been playing?
I'm good. I think I've almost recovered from COVID. So yeah, I have been playing mostly East 10, which I managed to finish on the release date because
Nice.
I got an early copy. So sorry, I have connections. Um,
Yes, man.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, I mean, I absolutely loved it. I mean, I love the East games anyway. So for me, any East game is gonna be a great experience. But yeah, they outdid themselves. I think I like this more than the last one. It has a fantastic story, fantastic characters that you just learn to love. They have so much personality. Um, Gameplay is of course always great, like fast paced, hack and slash, but with skills. And this time also, you only have two party members, but can switch between them and you can combine their attacks. So you can, if you're together, you can block, for example, unblockable attacks. You have special attacks, the duo attacks, where you both attack your enemy. You have revenge attacks, where you can, basically blocking, you can build up a sort of revenge meter, and then you increase the damage you do with your attacks. So there are so many options there to play the game how you want. Um, yeah, I mean, I love absolutely everything about it. I mean, the Karja, the new playable character, is absolutely amazing. Um, love the story. It definitely has some unexpected twists. And yes, and basically it seems like everybody's going the sort of Norse mythology route. So obviously, East was going to get there at some point, since this world is heavily based on the real world, and they're basically traveling across different regions. And now, yeah, the they say the Nordics were, uh, it was their turn. Yeah, I mean, I can't stress enough how much I love this game. It's definitely a go-to contender for me. I know it's probably not gonna win or be up there because they're in a competition, but for me personally, it's definitely a contender. Like it was such a ride to play this game. Um, and other than that, yeah, I have been going through a backlog, see what games I still have to finish. I did realize I didn't entirely finish the Super Mario 3D World. The expansion Bowser's Fury, which I'm currently playing, which is quite fun. It's sort of a standalone but included expansion where you're in a big open world where Bowser apparently ate the same hot wings I ate today, so he's really mad and really big. And occasionally he sort of resurfaces and then turns the entire area into a hellscape. And then you have to, yeah, basically find some yeah, cat medals to light a lighthouse that will basically push him away for a while. And yeah, it's actually quite fun. So I'm glad that I decided to pick it up, because this was the last bit of this game that I had to finish. And yeah, so hopefully finish it soon. And yeah, now basically the wait is there for the next Dragon Age, Veilguard, which I guess I'm glad that I got East 10 early, so I could finish that off before jumping into Veilguard, because that's coming next week. And yeah, I'm ready for it. So yeah.
Absolutely. I'll be able to get some impressions from you and see what you think of it before I make my decision. I'm sure I'll still be neck deep in plenty of these games, especially considering I also picked up Romancing Saga 2 as well. So, but yeah,
Good,
all those are
yeah.
really good.
I'm
I
gonna
have
let you
heard.
know how woke it is.
Yeah, that's the word on the street, you know. Uh, but I know if you're digging the combat and all that other stuff and the story's solid, then it'll be a good pickup.
And then Sanctus is saying your mic is low.
It shouldn't be. It's I mean, I adjusted it just now, so I mean that should fix it, but it shouldn't be. But I got it. Thank you. Um, but yeah, yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about East 10. I know a couple other people that picked it up as well. I've heard nothing but good things. I This is one where I mean, like I said, I know how I typically am with the series, but you know, I know they did put out a demo, so I've heard really people really enticed after they played the demo. So I'm gonna give the demo a shot and see how I really end up liking it. But
Yeah, they're all true.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Morgan, how are you, ma'am, and what have you been playing?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Still on the metaphor train, all hands on deck, with metaphor. Uh, Wishing that I could put more hours into it. It's just I get home from work and I'm just so tired, and I only get to put like 2-3 hours into it. I wish I could put more, but hopefully I'll get some more in today. But
Oh
yeah,
man, that adult life.
metaphor is, I know, being an adult sucks. But yeah, it's still amazing, still fun, still fantastic. Story still going strong. I left off at a kind of a cliffhanger, at least for me. I was like, okay, what's about to happen next? So I'm interested to see, where it goes. I think maybe I'm at. I don't know as far as progression where I am, because we're doing a lot of things, not just the main in this game. Side quests and side dungeons and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
it's kind of hard
I
to
want to
tell.
say, yeah, I want to say I've reached the halfway point, maybe, but who knows? I have no idea. But I'm having fun regardless. Yeah, I have no complaints with Metaphor. It is taking up my brain when it comes to gaming, and hopefully I'll be able to just buckle down, finish it, and plat it before any other big games come across my timeline. So here's hoping.
Absolutely. No, I mean it's a blessing when you can get a game that comes out that just fully takes our attention, and we're not juggling 5 or 6 different games. So that alone says a lot about Metaphor. Um, but yeah, I'm the same way. Like Morgan said, I'm also still just Metaphor every hour, every second of every day that I can manage to play the game. Uh, a lot of people are starting to get to the point where they're finishing it as well. So, like she said, it's just all about how much time can you put into it and really get to enjoy it so you don't get spoiled. And then, of course, uh, most likely going for the platinum, which requires a second run for super bosses. So, I'm definitely wanting to get to that point so I can see how long it really takes me to do a complete run. But again, still phenomenal character development, world building, storytelling. All that has been tight, on point. Really, really loving the characters and the exposition that you get. I know that annoys some people. They're like, I don't need to know all this about all the characters. And I'm like, nah, I love it. Keep giving it to me. The backstory, everything. Um, so yeah, a lot of fun. I also picked up Romancing Saga 2. I have not started it, but I picked it up because I wanted to support. I played the demo and it was phenomenal. It looks like another amazing turn-based game, and hey, like they say, speak with your wallet. When you get
Does it
stuff that you want, and so I
does it
did.
carry over?
Yes, it carries over.
Hmm.
Yep. Um,
A lot
but
of
yeah,
companies are doing this right now,
yeah.
carrying over demo. I think they found a way to, make demo inciting for others.
Well, I mean, I think it also creates less work for them. They don't have to create a separate portion of the game just for you to experience or cut it weird. They just let you literally play the beginning of the game, cut you off at a certain point, and then you know whether or not you like it. I think it works really well. Um, and it also
I
lends for the fact that they got to make the beginning exciting enough to entice people, so that way you don't get these really overly slow starts, and they
Also
get
they
better.
give you a significant amount of time to play it.
Yeah, they do. Some of them more than others. Obviously, the metaphor one, people spent a lot of time. Some people
Hmm.
10 plus hours in the demo. So absolutely. But yeah. With that, now we'll just go ahead and head over to Omar for the last part of this. So Omar, how are you, man? And what have you been playing?
Yeah, so I'm fine. Tough week I had. Um, but gaming is have been, yeah, insane. Before I talk about metaphor, which I'm gonna talk, I don't think I mentioned this last week because we didn't do a show last. No, we did. Never mind then. Metaphor. This is what I have screamed to you about that I want a dark JRPG, and we got one. I thought that this is just gonna be opening with the costume and call it a day, but nah, people are dying for real. They're literally dying on the street or getting hanged like that. I'm like, damn, long time no see. Actual death in a JRPG, not just some side characters that you meet. No, just people on the street dying. Like, yeah, sign the fuck up. I'm still not not like I'm confused. I'm like intrigued how the story is in the sense of the way you get your powers, yet who the main enemy is, what they're called. When I first heard about it, I genuinely thought I misheard it or misread it. So I had to double check with you, and you said, yeah, no, that's what it is. So yeah, it's a clusterfuck in an amazing way. Um, so this is my first Atlas game after Persona 5, original one. So I haven't played Royal. So if I gush about something or complain about something, that's because that's just about this game. I don't know if this is the blueprint for Atlas or not. As, as always, the music is off the chart. The battle music, I'm loving it. Like, I wanna fight the enemy, but I'm also still wanna listen to it. It's so, it's so, how do I say this? It's weird, but it's great, if that makes sense.
Yeah, a
Um,
lot of people have been really big fans of the battle music.
yeah, the story is, again, uh, so far from what I've been, yeah, I'm loving it. It's, it's something that I've always wanted, a dark story, and I'm genuinely curious where the twists and turns are going to be and so forth. The world building, that's what I'm the most interested about with this one, because it feels like it's a fantasy world, but at the same time it's not, if that makes sense. It feels grounded, but it also feels like a lot of fantasy, which again interesting. And then we get to the actual meat and potato in the game, which is the combat, and that's where the fun is. For starters, they cracked the code. why should I, when I die, always start from the checkpoint? Now they're starting you off literally a few minutes before the area where you died. Like, that's genius. Instead of having you to backtrack to where you left off, you get to you refight your fight if you die. And I love that. That saves so much time, it saves so much frustration, because most of the time when you get caught between enemies and you can even die before reaching where you need to be, now you're literally restarting. If you opened a loot box, a chest, and you got your weapon or whatever, like, not only you're keeping that, which sometimes could be random, you also get to fight the same enemy all over again, and with a different strategy. I love that. Like, again, I'm not sure if they did that with Persona 5 Royale or Reloaded, but this is an amazing concept, and I hope other JRPGs make use of. Like, for the most part, they elevate what a turn-based JRPG is supposed to be. Like, the fighting by itself, the way that you can restart your fight all over again from with the press of the button, like, that's phenomenal. Like, how many times you press a button by accident and you do a move that you didn't want, or an enemy does a bullshit move that KOs half of your party members with one move. You're like, oh, come on. Instead of waiting to die out only to, go back to where you need to be, no. I will just press one button and I will be back. I will restart my game, my fight. I love
That
that.
didn't Final Fantasy do that as well?
Um, no, not so far. I remember where you're literally restarting your fight.
Yeah, no, it did. You could every fight you could say restart the fight, and you start right before the fight.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, that one you restart before the fight. I got you. Yeah, that one no, you restart at the fight. But real talk, I wish it had also before the fight, because, and this is the significant part. If you die, if you want to switch your gear or whatever, you actually need to die. You can't just you can try to run away, but if you fail, most of the time they're dropping you. Like, so far, the difficulty is either kill or get killed. They can combo you into oblivion, but you can combo them also into oblivion. Another thing is a clear map. Like, we always have complained about maps sometimes not being clear. Now we're getting a clear map. You can easily see where you are. You can see what area you are in and stuff like that. And I love that. Another thing, with the press of a button, you can save. You can skip multiple menus. Just press up with your touch D-pad, and you're saving.
Yeah,
So
they give you a
easy.
lot of shortcuts.
A lot, not only a lot of a quality of life improvement, and I'm astonished by it. For example, you're sure that you can handle this enemy. How about auto? It's there. Yeah, sometimes you can get killed by it, but it's there for you if you want to. Um, mid talking, you can speed up the conversation if you want. Another thing that's great to do. Now to the actual combat itself. The diff. I thought the what you call it, the outside. world combat is going to be like Persona. But no, it's done way better than Persona. In the
Mm,
sense of if you're equipping with different archetype, which is basically your personas, if that makes sense, they you get different benefits from regaining MP to farming money to not to have a chance to not get hit to being able to destroy your enemy quicker. Like they thought about a lot of things um so far. So yeah, you said it. The merchant class is insanely broken if you want to farm money. Like that's what I'm doing after mid during the podcast. I'm just mindlessly farming money because I can, and it's giving me significant amount of money. And I am pretty sure when I unlock the what you call it, the upgrade form of it, it's going to give me even more money.
potentially.
I um
All right, so
um
overall, you're loving the game so far.
yeah, I'm loving the game. There are few things that I'm not sure if this is an Atlas thing or not, but
Mm-hmm.
it's an issue that I have with. The first thing is you don't have an enemy list book. I find that weird, especially in a JRPG turn base. I don't know if because Atlas never had any, but I'm so used to one, especially with a game as big as Metaphor, especially when it have thief that you can use to steal. I wanna know what can I steal from enemies.
I mean,
And
a lot of B
I
series
it
and
don't.
is
games don't have that.
visible. It is visible if it in combat. You can press what you call it R2 L2, and it showed you status, weaknesses, and everything. But outside of combat, you don't get to see
Okay.
that.
Doesn't tell you what weapons they have, though.
Sorry.
A bestiary does not tell you what weapons they have.
A lot, at least from the games that I played, a lot of times they do tell you what weapon it have. At least after you stolen from it, they let you
Okay,
what
so
is.
after, so they don't tell you before. So that bestiary would not come in handy then.
The bestiary would come in handy in showing you if it has something you can steal from it.
That
I'm gonna
you
be
just said
honest.
it,
I
it doesn't
don't.
it doesn't tell you until after you steal something
Yeah,
from it
until
though.
after, yeah.
So then it
Um,
wouldn't the bestiary wouldn't come in handy because you have
oh,
to steal from it first.
it would do, it would still come in handy because there are a lot of enemies, and I was not sure which enemy dropped what.
Okay,
So,
You
you're
missing what
contradicting
she said.
yourself. How
sorry.
would you know which enemy dropped what if you have to steal from them first in order to know? The bestiary, if
Oh,
you
but
ran
that's
into a
the
new
thing.
beast, you wouldn't know.
But that's the thing. What happened to me? I went to a fight, and I got that item by accident,
Okay.
and I died. So when I reloaded my save file, cause I went farming for silver chest armor, and that was insanely good for the boss fight that I had to do. Uh, I I've had to fight a few enemies before realizing, oh no, only one of them dropped it, which
Mm-hmm.
I already beaten, so it should have been able to be visible. This is why I said if I had that book,
Oh.
I could
Well,
have
I mean,
went to the book and see, oh, Okay, so
True,
this is
but I
the enemy
mean,
that dropped it.
That
you
I'm
could
not.
have
I
also
disagree that
just
that's common.
Googled the weapon you wanted and found it in 10 seconds.
Sorry?
Yep.
I
The
said, but you
item
could
you
have
were
also
looking
just
What?
for.
Googled. You could also just Google the item that you were looking for, and it would have told you which, so you wouldn't have to just randomly fight random monsters. You could have just Googled that and
Not
found it in like 10
really.
seconds.
Not really,
Yes,
because
really.
it don't even exist. They don't even know about it yet. I googled it where it is, and literally just one person said, "I found it. I found it by accident." I'm like, "Yeah, I found it by accident too."
Okay, wait. You're
And
missing the
they,
point. You knew the name, so
sorry,
you should have known the item. You should have known the item and what you killed to get it.
I didn't know the name until I got it.
You're missing the point. You're complaining that they don't show you. So even in the B series, you're complaining about where you said if you stole the item or you got the item or the drop from that thing, you're claiming they show it in the B series, which I argue is 90% of JRPGs I've played do not have a drop list built into the game. So I've always had to look that up. But regardless, once you've done it personally, you should have notated what you killed or what you stole from to get the item, so you shouldn't have had that problem in the first place.
Yeah,
It
this is
happened.
Omar though.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was done. That was all I was gonna say.
No, to me, I had no idea it dropped it, and when it dropped it,
We are aware.
I didn't know what happened is I'm fighting enemies. I'm fighting them because I knew their weakness. I'm overpowered. I've been killing them without paying attention what they are in
Okay,
sense
so
of
whose fault is
the
that?
I had no idea what it dropped. If I got the loot, yeah, I should be able to easily look it up in my dictionary. Like, why are we like? And this is what I'm confused
So
about.
this is a complaint that you
Dictionary,
would specifically like in video games, not specific to Atlas, because 90% of video games that we play do not have a bestiary that updates with a drop table. That is not a thing.
so far what I played, most of them had one, especially the RPG template.
Okay,
What turn-based games have you played that had that?
The first thing that I can think of is the Final Fantasy game, 7 Rebirth, a remake. I think it did, yeah.
I don't remember that, but okay.
Yeah, I don't remember
Other,
that.
I do remember that because I made use of it. But
Yeah, they
going
do
back
that.
to it, um,
Record.
another thing that's irking me is, and this is what I found it about is, and this is why I wish that the bestiary was there, is some bosses have hidden stuff that they can drop.
Again, the bestiary doesn't tell you that.
I wish it did. That's what I'm trying to explain. I
Okay,
wish if it would let you
we're
know.
it's a valid complaint, but what my point is, that is not common in JRPGs in general. An in-game bestiary that tells you what something drops ahead of time, you always have to look that shit up.
Again, for the most part, for the games that I played, I never did. But maybe it's because, maybe,
Omar,
yeah. Go ahead.
I think you're confused with what Nate is saying ahead of time, right? Generally, when enemies add to your bestiary, you will see what the enemy, description, but you won't see the drops unless you actually got those drops from the enemy.
But
Yeah.
you would see in certain games, you would see a question mark.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but with this one, it doesn't even give you a fucking question mark.
Because it doesn't have a bestiary, you just said.
No, but it does. It did drop the item. That's what I'm saying.
But then you
It's
died,
literally hidden.
which also typically means you don't retain what you got from that fight because you died.
What do you mean?
You said you died after you got the item.
Yeah, so it
Okay.
wouldn't have saved it. It wouldn't have saved it anyway because you
Oh no, I
died.
didn't. No, I reloaded the save file. That was a different
Okay,
computation.
so then you still wouldn't have had it.
No, I had it. No. I literally went back and killed it again to get it. I had
Okay.
to kill
Okay.
him
I think
7,
we've
8 times
had enough
to
for
kill him.
complaining more, Omar.
What?
What's your next complaint, Omar? Go ahead.
No, that's it. No, but again, for the things that it does amazingly, I was confused that, especially because this game have something that I love, a thief. I am now. Oh, oh. I am now. I need to look up every boss fight and see what he or she dropped now before killing it, because I'm genuinely not sure if that boss is going to drop one thing or multiple things.
Do you need to know before?
Uh, um, yeah, basically yeah. Why? Because I wanna know if I need to redo the boss fight or not. Because some boss fight drop multiple things, and again, going from no accessory to having accessory with 6 um um attack upgrade, like that's insane, especially for a JRPG like that.
You mean 6 strength?
Yeah, 6 strength, yeah. And the best I had was giving me what, 1 or 2 or sometimes 3. Like that's a slot that I was not making use of, and all of a sudden I have an accessory that's giving me 6 strength.
Okay, so that's a you problem though. So you're gonna have to look
So
that up.
yeah, and let's hope that I'm lucky. I am so McWake. I'm not touching Monster Hunter for that reason. I don't fuck with games like that, especially Monster Hunter, cause I know that what that shit is. But yeah,
All right.
and
What about your other complaint?
and the other complaint is, and luckily with this one, because I'm not going for the plot, it's less an issue, but still an issue for me, is collectible being missable. I have absolutely no issue with collectibles. Heck, I enjoy collecting them, especially when they give you what you call it, uh, rewards,
Yes, a way to
especially for the
utilize the collectibles in game.
Sorry?
Yes, I said a way to utilize the collectibles in game.
Yeah.
So
That's
Okay.
it.
Alright.
That's it.
Okay.
No, I was
Yeah.
reading. No, I saw my
Yeah.
name in chat and I'm reading. Um,
I
I
think you complained enough, Omar.
Oh man.
I literally gushed about the game. For how
Yeah.
many
Oh
minutes?
yeah, we know you overcompensate with the gushing so you can get to the negatives. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Over. What did I do?
Just no. Just go. Just go ahead, Omar. Go.
If you compare my gushing over the complaint, it's literally 3
we,
complaints.
we, we, we,
But
oh, we know that's what you were doing. We already knew that.
my issue is, if I was not lucky, I would have been fucked. I would have, for me, knowing me, I would literally have to restart over just to get that shit. Because apparently, the end loot is beastly for getting all the not all the collectibles. That's so lucky about it. If you get all the collectibles, you get a trophy, which I have no access to, so no issue. I only need 46 out of 49, so I'm golden. Otherwise, I would have absolutely started over, which would have been frustrating. But luckily, I avoided that shit.
So what was the complaint?
Dude, eat shit. getting left from complaining. Like, what the fuck? If that's you, then that's way too much information.
So the missable, so the missable
What's the complaint,
collectibles.
Omar?
But what does the collectible? So you said you would have started over if there was something you needed the collectibles for in game that you wanted.
Yeah.
Okay, but you did. But you found out you didn't, so it doesn't make
So
a
I
difference.
was happy with it. I
So-
spent close to 10 hours just in the first area alone.
Oh, we know.
So I put a lot of hours in it just only to find out. Oh yeah, if I
That's
was
why
I
we
would
tell
have.
you to read a guide, Omar. But you don't want
I
to do
am-
that.
But that's the thing. Like for example, some games just don't come with guide. Not only that, I'm
Okay, but
just-
that's not an example of this, so you can't use that as an excuse.
Exactly, McQuack. Exactly. Yeah, that's ultimately what it ends up as.
My thing is with these type of things where the items and collectibles or whatever lead to a prize. I mean, I get why they're missable because they want you to go out of your way to get these items to get that ultra amazing weapon. So I'm not mad that they're missable. Like, I'm not mad that they're hard to find. That's kind of the point. They don't want to put them like right on the road. Like, here you go. Everybody can get this. Like, no, it's part of the point is for you to search the world and find
But you're
these
not-
collectibles.
But are you doing that or are you using a guide?
Are you asking me? Am I personally doing that or using the guide? I'm using the guide. But that's the point that they put them in there is for people to go around. Somebody had to do it first. It was the person who made the guide. They did the work.
Yeah.
I'm just going and finding the collectibles now.
Choosing to work smarter,
I don't have
not
shame in that.
harder.
I can't.
You can't-
we
you
had
can't-
that
You
conversation
can't
with-
complain when there's
Lucky
tools for
Fire.
you to
But
get
that's
around
my
it.
thing about Omar. If you
No,
choose
but
to
I
go
was
into
not-
a game
was-
blind, then
I
you
was-
can't complain when you miss shit.
I was not the only one that complained about that.
I
though.
Okay,
get
but
it.
we talk about you though.
But we're talking about your
We're talking
particular
about you.
thing.
But
So you agree, though, if you play a game
we-
blind and you miss something, that's your
That's like
fault.
you have to accept the terms and conditions when you do that. That's like you accept that you may miss things, that you may skip things, that you may not see things. If you decide to play blind, you accept that reality. But it's like you don't sometimes because then you come and complain when you miss things, when you didn't get a certain character, when you didn't get a certain weapon, and I'm just like, well, this is kind of the risk you take when you go in blind. You have to accept that risk if you plan on playing like that, Omar. I don't have a problem with you playing like that. Many people play like that. I play like that sometimes if I plan on playing a game, multiple times. I'll go the first time blind, and the next time I'll do collectibles and stuff. But if you do it that way, you have to accept the risk that comes with it.
he said it. He said it. This is what I would have been doing. I'm playing Metaphor blindly the first time. Second time I'm going for the plat. I'm checking a guide and everything. Like that's my play style.
Yeah, but he's not complaining about it, though. He understands
But if
what
you're
he
gonna
had
play
he
it like
did.
that, then you shouldn't be worried about missing things.
Sorry, what did you say, Morgan?
I said, but if you're playing it like that, then you shouldn't be worried about missing things in the first playthrough because you're gonna do a second one that's gonna do the cleanup.
Yes, I would agree with you. If not, missing thing would be an amazing weapon and an accessory.
Are you not gonna get that amazing weapon in the second playthrough?
See, you don't want to miss anything, but you want to play it blind. See, McQuack is saying he doesn't care. He's enjoying the experience that he's getting blind.
Yeah, because
But he's accepting all the terms and conditions, like Morgan said.
That's
But
my
you
sen- that's
don't
my
like
point.
all the terms and conditions.
if you're gonna play it the second way with the guide and stuff, then you'll get the weapon in the second playthrough. So what's the difference?
The difference would be I would have made use of that weapon in the first playthrough.
But you're gonna make it in the second one though. It's not like you're not going to get it.
but it's still frustrating. Like
Omar.
I don't get it.
But you do it to yourself though. Like that's the thing. You do. Because you don't want to look at a guide.
I swear, I don't know. You started playing with guide every game you play.
No, I
No.
don't. If I'm going to do a game multiple playthroughs, the first playthrough, I don't use a guide. The second one, I do. But like with bigger JRPGs like this, like I tend to like there are hundreds of hours and have a lot of collectibles and a lot of missable things. Yes, I use a guide. I have no shame in using a guide. I do not care.
No,
Like,
no.
I don't
not-
care.
I'm
But
not shaming anyone for using
I didn't
guide.
say you were shaming me. I'm just making that clear. But the thing is, I will use a guide. Yes, I don't. It's not a problem for me. And I get you want to run blind, but I'm saying running blind comes with risks. Like, and you know this because you've done this multiple times. You did it with Plucky Squire the last time. You were like, oh my god, I missed the collectible and I had to start over. And I was like, see, I told you there was missables. You need to use a guide. I don't want to use a guide. Okay, cool. Well, that's what happens. And now you're doing it with this game. And you're gonna do it with the next big game. You're gonna come and you're gonna complain that you missed something because you didn't use a guide. Oh my god, guys, I had to start over. I had to do a chapter over because I missed something. And I'm like, Omar, that's what happens. That's my point. You keep repeating the same thing over and over. And I'm just like, you just gotta accept that if you play with no guide, there's a high probability that you're going to miss some things. But you refuse to accept that fact, and that's the problem. Like, I don't care that you want to run blind. That's perfectly fine. It's the fact that you don't accept that you're probably going to miss something.
Most of the time, and this is genuinely, I look up on Google, does this game have anything missable?
Okay.
Most of the time. But there are times that I forget.
How did you forget with this big ass game, Omar?
I'm not used to watching, to look things, especially with Metaphor. Me playing it on PC, so no plat. I didn't care about any, 100 completion. Like I genuinely went in with Metaphor thinking, okay, this game gonna have, trophies, but I don't have access to them, so no problem. No issue at hand. So
But it's
for
also
example,
a big JRPG, and that's very typical for big JRPGs to have like secrets and missable missions and characters and other. So you should have known that there was a high probability for this game to have those things, regardless of whether you were getting the platinum or not.
I forgot if Persona 5 had them.
That's a good thing. Did you play Animal Well? Did you play Animal Well without a guide?
Animal Well, yeah.
Okay, you played it on PlayStation, right?
Yeah, I played it, and I played it all the way until I beat it the first time, and then I saw I need a lot of stuff for the plat. That's when I looked up on YouTube and guide.
Okay, so
Otherwise,
that
I
was
would
so
have
that
never
was
gotten the plat.
so I would ask because I see Wara said that he did the same thing. So you were fine playing that game that way, all the way through, and then going back and going for the platinum. But that bothers you more with this game in particular?
Yeah, because of the reward. That's it. I literally explained it. If not for the reward, I wouldn't have any issue with it because I'm not going for the plat. If I was going for the plat,
okay, so before trophies came out, because you played games during the PS1 era, PS2, and all that.
I never looked up anything until I'm mid-game. Then I hear about something from. I think I was stuck in a certain area, and then I looked up on Google how to solve this puzzle. But that's about it.
But you gotta agree that there's tons of things that you've missed in a lot of those games prior to you looking it up. Because if you've played the amount of RPGs that I know you have, a ton of those games have a lot of things out of the way on purpose for you to miss unless you look up a guide on how to get most of them. You rarely discover everything in an RPG by just playing blindly, correct?
Yeah, I agree. That's how I played Final Fantasy X.
Okay, so
I think close to all the Final Fantasy like that.
yeah, so okay, so you accept that that is typically what happens when you make a choice, a conscious choice, one that you are aware of, and to play a game blind the first time, regardless of what type of game it is, because this is the same thing for The Last of Us Part 2 as well. You're going to miss a bunch of those little collectibles that are on the street or whatever that you have to collect, and you have to do another playthrough if you want it all. So you agree,
Yeah,
no matter the game. Okay, that's what I thought. Gotcha. No, I just wanted to get that straight. That is a personal choice. Like the chat agrees that if you choose to play a game blindly, that is the result, and I mean that's entirely on you. If you forget or things like that, again, that's a memory issue or your issue. So that's something you're gonna have to alleviate by taking notes or whatever you need. I don't personally have that problem, but if you do, that's something you gotta look at getting some assistance on so that you can remember things better. But yeah, that's Omar's take for his current impressions on Metaphor ReFantazio. Obviously, still really likes the game. Like McQuack said, if that's the only complaints you got about it is the bestiary and missables, then it sounds like an
not to lie,
amazing
I love
JRPG.
it.
So
It's addictive, especially with the combat.
absolutely. So in celebration of more things, the game that we were all told sold terribly, nobody was interested in. It was all just, a minuscule fanfare. Shout out to Astrobot and Team Asobi coming in at number 2 on the charts and number 25 overall for the year in their sales for NPD. They apparently did phenomenal. We don't have the actual number yet, but number 2 for the month is incredible. You're talking about coming in above Madden and just below FC, which is of course previously known as FIFA. So those are some impressive numbers to be able to score like that, especially with all the competition out here. I know most of the people in the chat have had a chance to play Astrobot. I myself, if you guys know, I'm typically not a fan of platformers, but Astrobot has been phenomenal to play. I'm on the last area of the game. I should beat it here pretty soon. Metaphor is just consuming everything right now, though. But yeah, shout out to that team. They did phenomenal. All the haters, can't really say anything now because, numbers don't lie. Number 2 for the month. Just like I said, phenomenal. Yeah, Morgan, you were aware of a lot of the haters, who swore it wasn't going to sell.
Oh yeah. As per usual, if Sony doesn't pronounce to the world the exact numbers on it, like 2-3 days a week, people declare it's a flop. That's just what they do, right? It's not like the other side is ever really giving numbers, but hey, they demand it from PlayStation though.
Mm-hmm.
But we see this as number 2, and now now the goalpost is shifting. Well, it's number 2, yeah, sure, for the month, but overall for the entire year, it's not charting. I'm just it's only been out for a month. They wanted to outsell games that have been out since January.
Yeah.
I just laugh because it's the goalpost move. Because first, it's not on NPD. It's not on NPD, so that means it failed. It's a flop. And then obviously we see now number 2, which is insane, honestly. For it to be at that point, a platformer like that to be number 2 is it's a great accomplishment. But like I said, now it's it's not selling overall for the year now, so that's an L. we needed to hit that chart. So if by the end of the year it did hit that chart, I feel like at that point they'd still find an excuse to be it's still not the top 3, so fail. It is what it is. I see a lot of people expecting Astrobot to hit similar numbers to Spider-Man or God of War, and I'm just this game, for one, is not even in the same revenue scheme as those games. As far as cost analysis, this game costs nowhere close to those games to make.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't, for people to assume that because it may not reach those numbers that it's a fail for Sony. And I'm just the fact that y'all think they have Sony has the same goals for Astrobot that they do for a God of War or Spider-Man or Horizon, I just laugh because it's just like, this is why games do the way they do, because y'all have no idea how the business works. Y'all assume it's a one size fits all with every game, and they all have to sell 10 million plus in order to be a success. And it's just frustrating. But putting them to the side, though, the haters to the side, congratulations to Team Asobi. It's not surprising. The game is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, we've all played it in here. It shot up to the top list of for my game of the year. Team Asobi put that work in. It was exactly what we wanted. When we played Astrobot's Playroom back in 2020 with the included in the PS5. We all were like, this needs to be a full game. This needs to be,
That's true.
Yeah, PlayStation's mascot. Like, they need to take this and they could transform it into something big. And I think Team Asobi exceeded everybody's expectations, and knocked it out the park. And now we got the DLCs dropping once a month. They just dropped the first one, and they're going to drop another one next month and the month after that. So, I see us getting many Astrobot games after this. I think Sony's very happy with what Astrobot did, and I think the team's happy with what they did. So I think that's all that matters at the end of the day. And yeah, congrats to a Team Asobi.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that team, like I said, knocked it out the park. I see War was saying, he thought maybe it was a little overhyped, kind of like Forza Horizon 5 with Xbox guys, which I enjoy Forza Horizon 5 as well. I do agree Forza Horizon 5 is just way overhyped, and most of those people overhyping it don't really play it like that. I mean, I myself have over 200 hours in Forza Horizon 5 and like 800 cars, so yeah, I'm neck deep in that game. But yeah, I wouldn't particularly say that in my case, only because, like I said, I typically just don't like platformers. And when I say like, I mean, they're like closer to the bottom of my list, right above, puzzle games.
I hate platformers. I've tried to get him to play multiple platformers, and he has done so begrudgingly and hated every second of it.
Yeah.
But he loves Astrobot.
Yeah, Astrobot, I was smiling the whole time. Like, it was just a lot of fun. I'm not gonna tell you, everybody ain't gonna really enjoy it like that. I mean, every game is for everybody. We all know that. But yeah, as far as it just being
ask me a question.
Phenomenal game. Yeah, go ahead.
He said, "Did you think that the whole rebuild the PS5 as the story was a bit lame for Astrobot?" No, particularly for me. I like those little corny, kind of cheesy stories, and I figured that would kind of be the story because it's very similar to what Playroom did. With us exploring like the SSD and the GPU and stuff. So I knew it would revolve around the PS5 because I mean that's kind of like Astrobot's whole gimmick. He's inside of a PS5. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed going to the different areas and building the PS5 back together. I think it would have been even cooler if we built it like a Pro. That would have been cool. But no, I enjoyed it. I liked quote unquote fixing my PS5 and flying it back into space. I thought it was cute, and I think it really fits with the theme of it being a PlayStation themed game. Around the history of PlayStation, for you to ultimately build up to the latest PS5 console. I think it was fitting, and it made sense. You're building this console that has a history of all these games that are surrounding it. All those games surrounding it has gotten it to the point where they are at where we are at a PS5 now. Celebrating that history that got us to what we are.
30 years,
right
baby.
Now. 30 years. There you go. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Absolutely, which is a perfect culmination to join you with your 30th edition PlayStation 5 Pro when you get it here shortly, ma'am. I know you excited.
I'm still hoping. I still feel like that's a lie, but we'll see.
Nah, you gonna get it. I'm excited.
Am I the only one that believe we're gonna get a DLC for the Pro?
I mean, that's what I was gonna say. I hope we get a DLC for the Pro. I know when you get towards the end and you get to see it fly again, the PS5 is the biggest thing in the little PlayStation fleet So I'm hoping, we get like a something when the pro launches, where the pro shows up in game, and it's the new big bad thing on campus. So I'm hoping they do something with that. But we'll see. We don't have long now. November 7th is not far away. So
Yep.
I'd like to see that, and as well as the 30th anniversary one, both incorporated into the game. So we'll see what
Oh
happens
yeah,
with
that
that.
would be cool.
Yeah, that would be dope. Um, but yeah, Weeb, did you want to add anything?
No, yeah, yeah. I'm in full agreement. Astrobot deserves all the success it's gotten because it is an amazing game. And yeah, it just shows that don't jump to conclusions. Don't trust these crybabies on Twitter and YouTube who want this game to fail just because it's not on their preferred platform. Like, it's an amazing game, and as we've expected, it's doing really well as it should. And yeah, I mean, here's to more of it, more DLC, more a sequel. Definitely, I'm all up for it because it's one of the best games this gen, and yeah, I
Absolutely.
mean
Shout out to you guys and the whole team, all having the platinum. Except for me, I'm late on it. I was playing too many games at once. But
Shameful.
also Kay, who's not here, also got the plat, as well as her daughter. So yeah, I'm literally the last man standing, to not
You
have the
got beat up by
platinum.
an 11-year-old. That's crazy.
Hey, look, man, she got priorities. I was all over the place. I admit it. Yeah. Before we move on to this next topic, Omar, did you want to add anything else? I know you were just kind of ad libbing in there, but anything else before we move on?
Yeah, so shout out to Team Asobi for what they created. Like they created magic. I am curious why PlayStation haven't released their numbers. Could we clearly see that it did well. So it is, irritating that they're not releasing any numbers. But besides that, I'm just like I said a few weeks ago, I went back and played the first DLC and enjoyed the heck out of it, and I'm looking forward to more DLCs.
Yeah,
And also, I'm looking forward to where they take this franchise. Um, I'm curious if it could change genre and still work. In my opinion, I loved it so much. I wish. I know they're not gonna implement it like that. Like for example, Ghost of Yotei, the main character. I wish they introduced her in a small DLC in astrobot, and you can play as her, her abilities before the
yeah. I
main
think that
game
might
comes.
be a stretch,
I
but yeah.
yeah, a trash, but it's still a, a great concept if it's done well.
mm,
Yeah, I mean, I don't really
yeah.
know how that would work in Astrobot, but I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, they could visit more of
Yeah,
that. They could do Astro Kart and have a bunch of stuff in there. I mean, they could. There's a lot of things they could do with it. It'll be interesting to see what they do.
also for
Nastros.
go ahead.
What do you call it? Smash Bros.
Yeah.
uh,
Astros
Bring
fighting
PlayStation
tournament.
All Stars back.
Yeah, basically PlayStation All Stars. Yeah.
For the people that say that or think that the story is, gimmicky or goofy or whatever, I'm like, it's not a serious game to have a serious story. In fact, I enjoyed building the PlayStation like that. I enjoyed it so much that I'm wishing to get the Pro and build the Pro like that. Like, it's entertaining.
Yeah, I
I
enjoy it. I
remember.
enjoyed it, and all the characters that surround it, in all the areas, the special areas they build for each character. I mean, I think it just says a lot. I mean, a lot of people didn't get to experience it the way that we have over the years, so it gets a lot of people introduced, a lot of people curious about which characters would go to which games, and stuff like that, and it's drumming up interest in older characters that people hadn't really known about. Soul Reaver was in there as well. And then
Yeah.
obviously we got the announcement for the remasters for that. So yeah, I mean, I think it did a great job. Not only the PlayStation history as far as the hardware, but also the games. So yeah, I think it did a great job.
I wish I could know, unless I'm gonna go, and Google every name that come to mind. I wish, but I'm not sure if because of uh, not owning the IP or whatever, but when they named the character, they didn't give them their actual name. They gave them fun names, which it was entertaining, but some of them I had absolutely no idea who they are.
Yeah,
But it's still, I can't stress it enough. Play astrobot. It's a great, no, it's an amazing game. And before Metaphor came out, I genuinely saw it as the game of the year. Now with Metaphor, hey, Metaphor might take it, but I just want Astrobot to take it, cause it's that great.
yeah,
And I can't stress it enough. The DualSense gave us that edge at the end.
yeah. We know you're a big fan of that. We all are. But yeah, like I said, just again, shout out to them and congrats to that team. Moving on to a team that did the exact opposite of Astrobot. Uh, Prince of Persia and the Golden Crown is reflecting low sales as far as the reception that the game received. The game scored well. It seemed like a lot of people who have played it really enjoyed it. A lot of Metroidvania fans had a ball with it, but the support wasn't really there. Um, the team behind the game has been disbanded and reallocated to other projects. So thankfully, they did not get fired, but they are moving on to other projects. Um, the game, honestly, even myself, again, who is not a fan of that particular genre, I did play the demo and I thought it was really well crafted. Again, just a phenomenal game, but it just kind of shows you um, in a landscape where a lot of people scream about wanting, all these different genres to thrive, as opposed to, what we typically get. Um, this was a topic that Morgan had brought up because, and I hear it almost weekly on somebody's show, there's not enough variety. Not enough variety every show, especially with PlayStation. They're like, oh, PlayStation don't, they don't have enough variety. And yet when we get games like this that are not, the typical, the big cyberpunks, the big third person over the shoulder, big RPGs and stuff, like all of a sudden, all that noise doesn't match up to sales. A lot of people claiming this is what they want, all this variety. And like I said, every time we seem to get it, very rarely do these games that are the outliers succeed, sales wise or monetarily. And I mean, the reality is the numbers don't lie. But I know, Morgan, you wanted to elaborate because we've been going through this for weeks now, hearing people constantly harp on this. Not enough variety, not enough going on out here, too much of the same stuff, yet that doesn't seem to reflect in the numbers. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of went on a rant this week on Thrifty's podcast. Shout out to him. So I won't, repeat as long as I did on his, but it essentially boils down to what I've been saying, especially with this gaming community. It's a lot of talk, but there's never a lot of action. A lot of people love to tweet and, podcast and Discord and whatever about, wanting more creativity in games, wanting a variety of games. They're tired of live service games. They're tired of the big blockbuster games. They're tired of taking so long. They want, like you said, they want variety. Oh, where are the creative games at? Where are this, that, and that? But then when these games come out, right, and they come out to high acclaim, come out to critical acclaim, they review very well. The people who play them generally like them. These games are not getting the support, right? And we have examples of not only Prince of Persia, you have also Hi-Fi Rush. Tango Gameworks got also disbanded. Studio shut down, and they recently got bought by the other Rocket League publishers. Thank God. But they were, they were getting shut down. And that game received critical acclaim. It was something different. It offered variety. It was high quality, right? But it didn't get the support. I mean, we got Japan Studio from PlayStation, right? We released a lot of AA, single A kind of games, the kind of games that are creative, that a lot of people claim they want. But that studio also got shut down because we got more information. They wanted to transition it to a more AAA studio, and the creator wasn't really feeling that. But the reason they wanted to transition to AAA was because the sales from what they were producing weren't really, it wasn't really giving PlayStation the sales they wanted. So again, people love to cry about how they want variety, about how they want different games, about how they want to play this and that, and they're tired of the same old live service. But the numbers don't lie. That those type of games is what the majority of y'all buy, right? Y'all cry every year about 2K. You cry every year about Madden. You cry every year about Call of Duty. But then it's the number one. These are the number one selling games every single year. They're so tired apparently of PlayStation making these big blockbuster games. They're so tired of the quote unquote sad dad narrative, the third person action adventure thing. But then those games, once they come out, are the highest selling games of the year. Again, y'all say one thing, but then your wallets do a completely different other thing. So, Prince of Persia, unfortunately, has been like the latest casualty in this, war against creativity in video games, where a great game comes out, but it's not the big blockbuster hit, or it's not this, free to play live service game. So nobody wants to really give it any time or attention. Nobody wants to buy it, yada, yada, yada. And I get it's a Metrovania, so it's a little different, but there's many games that aren't necessarily niche genres, right? That are smaller in scale, that and also end up not getting supported because they're not the big AAA games that everybody wants. Everybody swears that they'll take gameplay over graphics any day, but then when the reality hits, and there are games that are core focused on gameplay, games like Rise of the Ronin was a good example, coming from Team Ninja, right? A studio known for their gameplay, but the game, to a lot of people, didn't look up to par, didn't look next gen enough, so they didn't want it. But I'm like, but I thought y'all said y'all didn't care about the graphics though. Y'all just wanted great gameplay, and that game had some amazing gameplay. So it's, again, and people say all the time, oh, PlayStation just focused more on gameplay and less on the graphics. I think their games would probably sell even more and then get even more people. But let's be real. If PlayStation released a game that didn't look up to par what people deem a PlayStation first party game, it would be the biggest uproar in the game community. Why should I have to pay $7 for this? This does not look next gen. This does not look like this. This is not blah, blah, blah. Again, y'all say one thing, but then do another thing. So I'm just sick of the conversation of, we want this, we want creative games, we want diversity, we want more, we want you companies to stop doing this and that, because that's not what y'all are telling them. And that's why I'm saying you complaining on Twitter and stuff isn't going to do anything, because at the end of the day, the companies only care about the spreadsheets, the end results, right? You can cry, which is why every year when people cry about 2K and about it sucking and about, oh my God, the my player, the schematics, whatever, that's why Take-Two doesn't listen, because y'all are saying one thing on Twitter, but then at the end of the revenue, when the year end wrap ups come and they're reading and they're projecting their numbers and they're adding everything up, it's profitable. They're making hand over fist, so they don't give a crap that y'all complain on Twitter. Y'all keep complaining, keep talking about our game, because it's just going to keep selling more. And that's my point. If y'all really want to make change, y'all have to speak with your wallet, but people refuse to do that because they don't really mean what they say. They just want to be part of the zeitgeist. They want to be part of the conversation, like, oh, I'm different. I like creativity. I play games of all ranges. I play games of all budgets. And the sad fact of the matter is the majority of people like the bullshit that these publishers, spit out. And that's why they flourish, right? And that's why a lot of publishers like PlayStation are, pumping out these remasters, because those are guaranteed successes, right? Those are hits that already have sold well. And, it's hard to take a creative leap when the creative games aren't the ones that people are buying, right? So why should they have to take a risk, right, with millions of dollars when they know that people will just play these remasters? They'll just buy these remasters again, right? This game was already a success. Let's remaster it. They'll buy it, right? This game was already a hit. Let's remaster it. They'll buy it. This game was a hit. Let's remake it, and they'll buy it. Like, they're not going to take creative risks because that leads to studios having to be closed. That leads to money being lost. That leads to years gone down the toilet. And so they're just regurgitating the shit that we've all been playing. And that's the sad reality. So I'm just sick of the conversation, because the conversation doesn't match up what people are doing. And it just seems like, again, people are just saying this so that, they can get the clicks and the likes and the attention. But people aren't really supporting these games. Y'all don't want those games. Y'all want the same shit y'all get every year. So it's just sad, because Prince of Persia was a good game. Hi-Fi Rush was a good game. Hopefully, I think they're at least getting the opportunity to make a sequel under their new owner. Disbanded. They tried to get a sequel. They tried to greenlit a sequel from Ubisoft, and Ubisoft said no, because that would not get any revenue. They were like, no, we didn't get anything from the first, so we're not going to greenlit a second. They even tried to apparently get an expansion for the game greenlit, and they said, no, we just want you to be on our other projects that need more attention. We need more hands on deck for our bigger AAA bullshit that people buy. So they didn't even get that. So it sucks, but unless people actually start doing what they say, this shit is gonna still keep happening. So I don't know. I just get tired of the conversation, because it starts trending on Twitter every couple months about, oh man, creativity, man. We just need some creative games. Y'all don't want them. Y'all don't really want them. But it's fine. It is what it is. At the end of the day, I just accept it. People just do what they do, especially in this community. It's a lot of grifting going on. No, but I'm so sorry for the Prince of Persia team. Y'all made an amazing game. That there are a lot of people who love that game, and it's sad that that something that clearly y'all had passion in, that passion project will not get a sequel. But hopefully they know that the people who played it and enjoyed it, they really loved your game. And don't give up. It sucks, but we need those type of games out here, because like the AA and single A portion of the gaming community, those developers, they really do bring something special to gaming. I love indies, and I love what they bring, and I don't ever want to see that section go, because most people don't play those type of games or support those games. But the gaming community needs those games, because that's where the innovation happens. So hopefully this doesn't dishearten that team, and maybe they can, I don't know, I don't want to say create their own studio, because it sucks, because a lot of people try to take that leap of creating their own studio, and they release a game and that also doesn't do well, so then they also end up having to disband that studio. It's just a vicious cycle that continues to happen. But yeah, just know your game was great and to not be disheartened by it. It's just the way this community set up, that it didn't get the love that it deserved. But yeah,
agreed. Well said.
Not the clap.
No, but yeah, I know you guys all really enjoyed it, and a lot of the team behind that game are really passionate. like you said, about that project. And honestly, like I said, even someone who's not a fan of the genre, um, the game was just phenomenal. Really well put together. I mean, I even told people, I was like, hey, look, it's not for me, but if you have any inclination of liking these type of games, you should definitely give it a shot. Um, just they just did such a great job, and it was reflected in the reviews. Um, so at least they were able to secure at least that critical acclaim and get reallocated to these other teams and really get it going.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can spread that love and that passion to some of these other teams, and get some of these creative mechanics spread throughout Ubisoft and really rejuvenate Ubisoft, who is obviously going through some stuff right now. But Weeb, yeah, I know that you played it as well and enjoyed it. Also, I can't remember if you got the platinum, but I think you did.
I think we platinumed it. Him and Omar.
Yeah. I don't. We might not be there right now, so I can go to Omar first if Weeb's not there. He might need a second. But yeah, Omar, you as well. Like I said, I know also enjoyed this game and got the platinum. Yeah, I know it sucks because I know you're a massive Metroidvania fan. We tease you about it all the time. So how do you feel about this?
Dude, I'm gutted. I had no idea that they asked for a part 2 and got rejected.
Yeah.
I'm so fucking angry about this. This is Immortal Phoenix Rising all over again.
Yeah.
Same fucking publisher, Ubi shit.
Yep.
It's so upsetting because the game is that good. And people might think I'm biased. I'm not. Demo exists. Go ahead and give it a go and judge for yourself. I'm not judging it as a Metrovania, I'm judging it as a game. For what it did right, for the story that was enjoyable, the voice acting, they went ahead and created a game in Farsi for people to enjoy if they wanted to enjoy. Like, I don't know if you, even me that don't know a lot about the industry, even I know that it costs a lot of money for, voice actors to do it in a different language other than English. For them to go out of their way and do one in Farsi, impressive. As for Ubisoft, do we have an actual number? Did they release any numbers or?
I don't remember
You
seeing
talking
the
about for
number.
Prince of Persia?
Yeah,
No, they didn't. They didn't really see it. They just said it didn't meet sales expectations.
it makes you question what was their expectation, but also it makes you question. My issue is with Ubisoft is Innate. You talked about how, for the most part, their live service, even when they don't do well, they tend to stick with them, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's the opposite for their single player games. They pretend to stick with them by giving them a roadmap, and then they take it underneath you. Like, for example, Prince of Persia got what? A DLC or two, including
Yeah, I
new
got two.
game. And from the sound of it, they wanted to do additional DLC, but got rejected.
Yeah, so I found the
Like,
number. They apparently sold roughly around 1 million copies.
I mean,
Wow.
a million for the genre that it is. For I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good to be honest. But for it's a smaller game, so
I'm not. It's close to an indie at this point.
I
It
mean,
didn't
the
have that.
production value on that game was high as shit, though. I will say
But
that. Like,
What did
when
you
I
say?
play. I said the production value on that game was really high, though.
Yeah, it did. It was. Which is why I said the Farsi voice acting must have cost them fortune. To, so I get where that money went, but it's killing me because another game that have so much potential died now.
Well, I think
And you
it's
know
also
that.
because it's not a new IP. It's part of the Prince of Persia franchise, so I think they a lot like how Square anticipated more because Tomb Raider is a big franchise. I think they anticipated more sales based on the franchise, um, and the quality of what they put out, and they just didn't see what they thought. I mean, I like you said, I'd be interested to know what their number was. You know, how far off they were. I mean, were they expecting 3 million? I mean, basically, kind of based on the reaction they seem to have given, I feel like they were expecting about 3 million sales. But I personally wouldn't have expected that from a Metroidvania. But um, yeah,
I
it's
think they
interesting.
thought they're Metroid or something like that. It's frustrating to no end. Cause if there is anything that I love more about the Metrovania or JRPG, it's unique games. Like if I see something unique about your gameplay, I'm playing your game. I don't care. I'm even prioritizing it over a triple A for the most part. It's it's frustrating. It's absolutely frustrating to no end. And this is what killed PlayStation Japan Studio. Literally the same story, only with multiple IPs. Close to every IP that PlayStation Japan produced didn't sell well, sadly.
Yep.
And then people complain about how PlayStation closed them. They didn't close them. They even offered them a new project. The studio had rejected that project. He wanted to leave. He wanted to do something different. He wanted to keep making, indie games like double A games. PlayStation said, "Hey, we're willing to upgrade your budget to produce us a triple A game." He refused, so
Yeah.
he
When you
left,
play for the
and
big team, you got to step it up.
they closed down. Like again, I can't stress this enough. Gravity Rush 1, I never played on the Vita because I owned a Vita for 3 days and gave it away to a family member because he needed it more than me. I I can't stress this enough. I have yet to find a game that matches the uniqueness of Gravity Rush. Shadow of the Colossus. I love Shadow of the Colossus. I love Ico. I love the evolution from Ico to Shadow of the Colossus. I have always dreamt of Shadow of the Colossus too. Instead, we got what you call it, Last Guardian, which was great. Um, the Legend of Dragoon. I love that, yet they never revived it. It's Rogue Galaxy again, another game that I love, another good game that was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
But um, I'm I'm going in circles because it frustrates me that Margaret said it, in my Twitter that I genuinely question, as much as I love Death Stranding, if you remove Hideo Kojima's name, would that game have sold well and would that game have got a sequel?
Yeah. I mean,
Probably not.
yeah, probably not.
Cause I remember even with Hideo Kojima's name, they were shitting on it because of the gameplay. Yet these are the same people that wanted something different. Yet when you're giving them something significantly different, oh, that's way different. We want you to tweak it, but not go all the way bonkers. How dare you show us creativity?
I mean, to be
But
fair, most people that complain about Death Stranding never really got to the core gameplay elements of it
no,
in
they
the
never
first
did.
place. So yeah,
No, they watch some gameplay on YouTube, which I understand. If you're gonna watch a gameplay on YouTube for Death Stranding, even me, one of the biggest Death Stranding fan on here, would literally tell you you're not gonna have that same experience as playing it. There's a huge difference between watching someone play Death Stranding or you playing Death Stranding. But yeah, it's frustrating. Another IP killed. Let's see
well,
what.
well,
I
not
am
the
curious.
IP, but
I mean, I'm
that
talking
particular
about
version of it. Yeah,
the genre of the IP, if that makes sense. I'm looking forward to see what the remake is going to do. You know, the same remake that apparently got rebooted 3 times already, 2 times, 3 times already. I'm looking forward to hearing what's happening to that. Let's see what. I would not be surprised if that doesn't do well. They're gonna put the Prince of Persia IP on ice.
yeah, I would say so. But yeah,
I'm
Weeb,
done. Go ahead, Weeb.
I see you came back, Weeb, and let us know what do you think about this whole thing. I know they kind of said a lot between him and Morgan, but I know you also platinumed the game and enjoyed it. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm also a huge Metroidvania fan, so
mm-hmm.
it's right up my alley, and I loved it. I mean, it was absolutely a surprise that they managed to produce such an excellent game with an existing IP. And yeah, I would have loved to see more of it, and too bad we're not gonna get that. Um, yeah, I mean, I share the sentiments of Morgan and Omar. That every time that people basically complain about they want something new, and when they get something new, they don't buy it. It's quite typical. On the other hand, I'd say the criticism on Ubisoft is also quite valid because they seem to have strange expectations. I mean, I can't imagine this. It looked good, but I can't imagine this game. It's not going to have the budget of Assassin's Creed.
Mm-hmm.
I expect that they had some sort of expectation because of the known IP that they were comparing this to sort of the mainline titles in the series, and they
Exactly.
wanted to have something like that in terms of revenue, and it didn't meet those expectations. And yeah, I mean that's kind of the problem if you're uh, if that's what you were going for, instead of just treating it as we also need these sort of smaller titles, um, to sort of say keep the soul of the company alive. I mean that is sort of that's kind of the problem with Ubisoft, is that they don't realize that these small titles are what keeps people engaged, right? I mean, yes, the bigger tentpole titles are what's gonna bring in the big bucks, but every time people are saying I'm gonna quit Ubisoft, if you bring out a game like that, that's how you keep people roped in. That's how they say, oh I'm gonna give you no chance, Ubisoft, because I do enjoy that one game that you produced that wasn't a big blockbuster title. That's also why I when you mentioned Japan Studios, like I I do get it that that if you're that you don't necessarily want to be a AAA studio. I mean, I get that. Like if that's sort of your passion, if you don't want to make a big blockbuster game, because there's obviously the problem with that is that even though if you're going to get creative control, you're still going to be hamstrung by it's a massive budget, so there are going to be a lot of oversight, and you're going to have limitations what you can do, and unless you're like Kojima, and you're sort of like the rock star of gaming and everybody wants you, and they're going to just give you a bag of money, a blank check, and just let you do your thing, let you cook. Yeah, that's not gonna happen if you're not Kojima. They're not gonna give you free reign and let you do whatever you want. They wanna want to have a safe bet. At least it has to sort of tick the boxes to be sure that they can make their money back. Which is they were quite concerned with Death Stranding, and I'm glad that Sony stuck with it and decided to swallow their pride or whatever you want to call it, and just let him cook and let him cook. And in the end, it turned out to be the best decision they ever made. With a third party, because it was a hit and a critical success for the most part, and everybody fucking loves it now. So, and we're getting a sequel. Um, so yeah, again, it's sad, that this is what happens with with a studio that made a game that I loved personally, and I think we should have more of those. And yeah, this is sort of the yeah the old tale, the business as usual, I guess, for these big publishers that they always snuff out something creative, something beautiful. Same with Hi-Fi Rush, they praise this game to heaven and hell, and then suddenly they're going to close the studio, or in this case, then eventually sold the studio. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame that this keeps happening, and yeah, I do wish that people would support these games more, or at the very least that if you're a big publisher, that you that you have some realistic expectations, and that's a problem I see too often with a lot of these publishers, that they just kill something and don't realize what they have, and don't nurture it and believe in it, and have some realistic expectations of it, so that it can exist. It doesn't have to make all the money. I can still be a part of your portfolio. Yeah, but yeah, I guess that's unfortunately not the reality. Yay, capitalism.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, man. But yeah, like I said, hopefully, like I said, the team gets to uh, revitalize or utilize some of their passion and ideas and some of the other properties that Ubisoft has. Obviously, like I said, they're going through some restructuring and other things that are going on with the studio um, and the publisher as a whole. Hopefully, they get everything together, because they better not mess this up, which is, of course, Assassin's Creed, which, me and Morgan are particularly massive fans of. Um, and, we've been waiting on this Japan trek for Assassin's Creed for many years. It looks like the positive that came out of this is that they're going to get the time. Uh, between this and what went on with Star Wars Outlaws, they're going to get the time they need in order to polish the game and, make some corrections and other things that they needed to, and give us the best version that they can. But yeah, we'll see what happens, man. They said a lot of
Are
people
they
not living up
borderline?
to it.
Are they borderline? Because here's the thing. Here's my biggest issue with this. The game had a demo. Multiple showcases, a demo, and still people didn't support it. So, what are you supposed to do as a developer? Stop your creativity? Stick to the status quo? I'm genuinely curious how we can combat this.
I mean, I don't really know what they could do otherwise. I mean, they made a phenomenal game and it just didn't stick. So, I mean, it does happen. Uh, selling, a little over 1 million copies, I think sounds like it did pretty good. But even Hero stated that for the franchise, which I imagine is probably the bigger stick here, is that given the popularity of the franchise, they thought it would do a lot better. and it didn't. I mean, it failed to meet expectations, and like Weeb said, capitalism. That's how it is, man. Um, but yeah, we had one other thing that happened this week that came out. I mean, this isn't any real big surprise. I mean, we've already gotten word from Phil and company, about what they're gonna do going forward, and they just keep kind of reiterating it. Um, but earlier this week, Satya Nadella stated, we brought four of our fan favorite titles to Nintendo Switch and Sony PlayStation for the first time, as we continue to extend our content to new platforms. Um, Basically, just look forward to more coming from them. Um, he's stating that there's more to come. What exactly that is going to entail, people are obviously teasing, the whole slate, as in everything. Um, and that's going to annoy some people. But I mean, honestly, I don't really know anything that's up and coming that isn't coming, or at least rumored to be coming. It'll just be a matter of when, it seems like, not necessarily a matter of if, for their titles. And Satya is pretty famous for putting their M365 everywhere, including their competitor's platform, which is, of course, Apple, and famously made them a lot of money doing it. So he looks like he's looking to do the same with all the IPs that they secured over at Xbox, now with 30 plus studios over there making games. Whether or not people believe that's a smart play, whether, obviously certain Xbox fans feel some type of way about it. A lot of them moving over to PC in order to kind of, in a rebellious state for, one reason or another. But yeah, I mean, we've got so far Doom is coming out day and date to PlayStation. And then, of course, Indiana Jones was announced to be coming out a couple months later in the spring for PlayStation, as well as a lot of these games are going to be getting PlayStation 5 Pro enhancements, as they should. I mean, if you're going to be a third-party publisher, you adhere to the same standards as everybody else. But yeah, like I said, not much news in that in wake of that. I mean, we kind of knew that was coming. Again, like I said, it was already just reiterated, and Phil previously had that sit down interview with IGN where he essentially said the same thing. Hey, look, there's more coming. When we all play, we all win. They've been reiterating all these statements for a while, but it is what it is. Weeb, are you excited about this, or how are you feeling as the Uno Xbox owner in the crowd here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care. Like, yeah, like I said, I do have access either way, but it does absolutely devalue that console even more, because if there's any good games that I actually want to play, if they come to PlayStation, then I'm all likelihood I'm gonna get it for PlayStation, because I have my trophies there. If there's multiplayer, I have my friends there. So there's very little reason then to get an Xbox. Plus, you don't really own an Xbox because of the always online DRM. So yeah, it is. I guess it's like I said, it's not really news, but it is funny that right before that there was a rumor that Xbox was going to slow down their releases on PlayStation because of the backlash, and then Satya decided to just railroad that straight away with his investor meeting, and just told me, no, we're going to keep on going because we're happy with what we're seeing, and we're just going to keep on pushing games to PlayStation. Potentially the whole slate, that we'll see. But yeah, I mean, yeah, this is the consequence, of that, and this massive spending spree they've gone through. We've talked about before, but you know, um, it got to the point, where Microsoft got involved. Like the very thing that they were banking on, literally, that, oh yeah, Microsoft's the biggest company in the world, so they can afford everything. They can just they can be the bank for Xbox, and they can just buy whatever they want, and there's nothing to worry about. And yeah, people fail to realize, at that level, when you're spending that much money, you know, everybody and their mom's going to get involved in the company, and you don't want that, because then you're going to get something like this, that they're just, no, we need to make money back now. We're not gonna let you, bank on that whole idea that, oh yeah, maybe Game Pass will take off, in 5 years or whatever, right? Because we have
Mm-hmm.
Call of Duty. Like, yeah, that's not gonna happen, because they're not gonna be able to afford that. Like, their shareholders are not gonna like that. The Phil's boss, the Satya, is not gonna like that. Um, it's just reality. They're realizing this is not gonna pan out the way they've hoped. And now they're moving away from, it seems more and more likely that they're going to be a third party publisher. Um, you know how soon and in what form we will have to see. But yeah, it seems more and more, the case can be made that the best place play your games is PlayStation, because you don't really need an Xbox. Even if you ignore the PC, you don't really need an Xbox now, because it seems like all their games are going to come to PlayStation. Sucks, I guess, if you're bleeding green. If you wanna, go for this whole kumbaya stuff, like, if you play together, everybody wins, blah blah. Yeah, well, this then would be better. I'd say, for me, like, it doesn't matter in the end. Like I said, I have access to everything, and um, yeah, I mean, I guess in that sense, considering that Microsoft hasn't has the best track record of how they manage their studios, and their games of late. Like, if their studios can focus more on being basically doing business as usual, and just develop the games that they were developing in the way they were developing it, and have as little interference as possible, and don't have to make Game Pass type games, right? um I guess that might help. I guess that might at least, in the end, be better, for the quality of games we're getting. um yeah, look, I'm not one of those people who are worried that if Xbox goes third party, that PlayStation will just do whatever the fuck they want, because the reality is they still have competition. They still have Nintendo. They still have PC is also a very viable alternative, especially now that they're putting their games also on PC, even with a delay. So I don't think it's going to be that much of an issue if Microsoft is going to basically go full third party.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, we'll see. The thing is, like, because of the unclarity of the messaging, they're sort of leaving it as in, and I think Jason Schreier also said, like, doesn't think anybody really knows what they're doing there. They're just
Exactly.
making it up as they go along, and that's kind of sort of, I guess, on the one hand, because it keeps you off balance. Like, you're not entirely sure, what's going to come to PlayStation. You can only guess, and depends on if they change their mind. But the way it is going now, I don't see them just suddenly doing a 180 and say, oh no, everything's exclusive now. And you can kind of guess, which games are very like Doom, Dark Age. That was definitely something that we've guessed that was going to be multiplat. I mean, we said that for Indiana Jones. I think basically anything that's probably what has been on PlayStation, or it's a new IP, is fair game, basically. and potentially their existing IPs might come to PlayStation. There's rumors that the new Gears is coming, which, considering it's a prequel, might be doable because you don't necessarily have the baggage of the previous games.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing would surprise me anymore. It would not surprise me if Halo will come to PlayStation at some point. I think that's if that happens, you can really say it's over in the sense that nothing is safe anymore, and everything that they can potentially see potential in, like see that people might buy that's going to come to PlayStation in whatever form, whether it's a remake or a remaster or the next iteration is going to come to PlayStation. Yeah, and, it is what it is. I mean, yeah, if you're a diehard Xbox fanboy, yeah, sucks to be you. Other hand, I say, like, in the end, I think it's better, in this, especially considering the studios and the publishers that bought, like, that those games don't disappear, that those games don't get stuck on Xbox, and potentially,
Lose
because
a
if
massive
they
part of
kept
their player base.
yeah, and potentially, that would could also be sort of a vicious circle where they then realize, oh yeah, now we're making less money, we have to close down, shrink
Exactly.
our studios, and in the end, some IPs might disappear that used to be multiplat. So in the end, I'd say that's probably the best possible outcome overall after the spending spree. That they basically bit of more than you could chew, and we basically dodged a bullet there that they're not decide to make everything exclusive and then just watch everything crumble. And now, hopefully, everything will basically continue and be business as usual, right? So that we don't really see any effective change aside from maybe some games dropping in Game Pass and didn't do that before. So
No,
yeah. Yeah.
I think you nailed it, Weeb. Uh, real quick, I'll go to Morgan and then Omar, and we'll get ready to close up because I gotta run out the door. But yeah, anything that you thought that you wanted to add that Weeb hadn't covered, Morgan?
No, just that, yeah, this really isn't surprising, him saying that. I mean, it's same shit, different day. Him reiterating that they're going to continue on their path to offer games to multiple platforms. Me personally, I could give two shits. I really don't care whether they decide to go multiplat or keep their games on exclusive to Xbox. I really don't care.
Yeah, you've already
If I want to
secured
play
your
those
access.
games, I mean, yeah, if I want to play those games, I'll have access to those games. If I choose to. So it doesn't really matter to me personally. I do find it funny though. Just the trajectory that Xbox has gone through. Buying up all these publishers and developers. Then you thinking, okay, they finally have a lot of developers under their belt where they can actually give a decent cadence of what you would hope to be quality games exclusive to their platform. But then they get all these things and they're like, yeah, now we're just going to spread them out. And so I'm just like, I mean, okay, cool. That's one way to go about business. That wouldn't have been the path I would have chosen personally, but hey, that's not my business to decide what they do. So this is what they've decided, which is fine for me. I will play Indiana Jones Day One this year via PC Game Pass, and then I'll play the definitive console version on my Pro next year when it comes to PlayStation.
There you
How
go.
dare you play Day One? How dare you?
Yeah, and I'll plat it on PlayStation. But yeah, that's what I plan on doing. And if they want to keep offering games on my preferred platform, which is PlayStation, sure. I mean, I bought Pentiment. I'm gonna play that and plat it on PlayStation. I bought Hi-Fi Rush. I'm gonna play that and plat it on PlayStation. So if they want to bring I mean, they can bring Starfoot. I'm not gonna touch that. No, thank you. They should bring Hellblade 2 though. you know, because those DualSense features are definitely needed for that game and would give it a great boost. So yeah, Hellblade 2.
It would. It would make a crappy game less crappy. I agree with you.
Yeah, so you know, any other kind of games they want to bring over, fine. You know, and if I like them, I'll buy them. If not, I won't. It just is what it is when it comes to Xbox. So you just, you know, like Jason Schreier said, you know, we really don't really know what their plan is, especially when it comes to their multi-platform strategy. It just seems like they're kind of just throwing games into a hat and picking out which ones they want to be multi-plat, because it's like they originally were just like, oh, it'll just be select titles, and then it turns to Indiana Jones, which was kind of a random one that no one really saw coming. And so now I'm just like, okay, what's the next one?
Yeah.
Is there gonna be next one? Is that the last one? Like what? Again, their cadence doesn't make sense. But hey, if it works for them, cool. I mean, they're about to release another multi-platform game, Call of Duty, which actually already released, and it's out now. Apparently, people are loving it. Cool. I'll probably try the campaign out on Game Pass, but that'll be it. But yeah, Xbox is doing what Xbox do, you know, confusing their consumer base one day at a time. So another day at Xbox, it seems like, you know.
Consuming the people who work there as well, apparently. Or confusing.
Yeah. So it's just like, who knows? Because, you know, they switch up their plans every other week. So who knows exactly what's going to happen next with Xbox? I think I see a lot of Xbox fans hoping that the handheld will be announced during the Game of the Year showcase. It's possible. I think the Series X was initially announced at the Game of the Years for like 2019 or whatever. So I mean, it's logical. Maybe. Hopefully, it'll be everything they want. I hope for them. I won't be purchasing it, but I hope they like it. But yeah, that's how I feel. I mean, because it's like it's hard to feel anything about Xbox because there's no really definitive plan with Xbox. So it's like I can't really, you know, put down any feelings because I have no idea what they're doing. So
agreed.
It is what it is with them.
Agreed. Omar, real quick, if you had anything otherwise to add.
Dude, I am zero. How do I say this? They do what they're gonna do. One person is saying one thing, other person another thing. If it comes, it comes. If it doesn't come, if I want to play it, I have access to it, and that's about it.
You do.
At this point of time, Microsoft is directionless.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it at that. Like, not like I am not excited about some of the games. A lot of the game I'm excited about, but just like Morgan said, I'm not going to wait on them to hit PlayStation to play them.
Yeah, you have access to them otherwise if you want to play them day one.
Yeah.
Absolutely. With that, we're going to go ahead and close out the show. Thank you for everybody who came through. Sanctus, Crow, Seafresh, Will, Thrifty, Hero Down Under. No, he had to run out and go to church. McQuack coming through for the first time, the homie. Like I said, Henry, if I didn't already say it already. We had RPG88, Nelson, of course, Warwana.
Seafresh. I don't know if you said that already.
Yeah, I think I said it, but if not, you know, I could say Seafresh twice, you know, because he the homie. He been here since day one. So yeah, again, appreciate everybody who came through. If I missed anybody, we still got love for you. I just missed it in the chat. Shout out to anybody who was lurking. Otherwise, like I said, you can catch all our socials at the bottom of the screen. Like I said, I am at The Real Innate. Morgan is at Chill Bandit. Karaba is at Karaba_Shihab. Kaylee is Kaylee1103. Nelson couldn't make it today. Kids running them ragged. Nelson Gaming 12. And we can catch Weeb at Infinite Rhizome. Again, all those in the correct spelling are at the bottom of the screen. Again, thank you for everybody who came through. Otter Nation.
Otter Nation.